Right, here's a quick maths equation for you. What do you get when you add up the fourth quarter of the year with COVID and with Brexit? The answer is huge delays at the Felixstow port in the UK. That's right, if you thought that 2020 was done with the pain and misery that it's caused, you were completely mistaken. Unfortunately, there are massive delays in Suffolk, where the main port of Felixstow is based, which is meaning that ships are unable to dock, they're unable to unload their goods, which is meaning that many people are unable to get stock that they've ordered from China or wherever else in the world. And who does that impact? It impacts us, Amazon FBA sellers. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the situation at Felixstow, why it's occurred in a bit more detail. And then I'm just going to be venting basically, because it's meaning that my 3,000 units of one of my products is not going to arrive in time for Black Friday. So I'm very upset. So this is one of the articles that broke yesterday from Sky News that's basically publicising the fact that one of the main ports in the UK, Felixstow, is jammed. And because of that, Christmas may well be cancelled, not just for children around the country, but also as Amazon FBA sellers, which is gutting. So the article, as you can see, it's saying Christmas orders may not arrive on time because of COVID and Brexit stockpiling, which are crippling the major port. So just to kind of put into context of what that's saying about the major port being crippled, it all stems from the very first lockdown that we had at the beginning of the year, which meant that the port, I believe, had to temporarily close, or they just had a reduced number of staff available to check in containers. Because of that, there's been, like delays with unloading containers and getting them out of the port, which has generally resulted in a bit of congestion. Now, when you kind of start from that position and then enter the fourth quarter of the year, which is generally the busiest quarter of the year, because you've got increased online shopping, Black Friday, Christmas, etc. So, you generally will see companies, including, Amazon FBA sellers, ordering much higher quantities of stock. So when you factor that in, you then factor in another COVID lockdown, which again is meaning that people are possibly isolating at home or not able to get into work. You factor that in, and then you throw on, for good measure, the impact of Brexit. You're just going to get a perfect storm. You're going to get absolute chaos. So with regards to Brexit, you guys know by now it's like a nightmare that's never ending. We are exiting the EU on the 1st of January 2021. And because of that, companies, Amazon FBA sellers, just everybody are ordering extra stock in now, just in case there are, particular delays at the beginning of next year, which could be expected. Because of the fact that we're leaving the European Union, we're not able to use their customs borders anymore, which means that goods entering the UK have got to go through customs again, or for the first time if they haven't already gone through customs, which is basically going to just cause delays, because our customs system is now going to be having way more goods coming through it, and it's just not going to be a great time. So we've got all of that to deal with, or Felixstow Port's got all of that to deal with, and that is exactly why you've got pictures like this. I mean, don't ask me if this is before or after the congestion, because that looks like a lot to me, but this is why you've got pictures like this, or the port's just, massively congested, because this perfect storm over 2020 has just been building and building, and now, it's just got to the point where the boats are physically unable to dock at the port and unload any of these containers. So before we actually dive into the article itself, let's just quickly check out where Felixstow is, because I'll be honest, I didn't know where it was before this video. I kind of just thought it was on the south coast actually, but it's here. It's on the east coast of England, and the route that most boats would take if they're coming from China, where you guys might be sourcing your goods from. So the route generally, again, I don't know precisely, but it will start from the east coast of China, and then it will make its way through here. I believe it will come through the Gulf or somewhere. There's a little gap here somewhere, I believe, but it will come into the south of Europe, round here, and then go all the way around Europe. And of course, it is docking at some points to drop some goods off. But for us guys in the UK, it will continue coming around here, up here, and then into the east coast. Now, what's happening is that a lot of boats are coming into this area here. They're finding that they can't dock into Felixstow, so they're either popping over to Rotterdam, where they've already been, I believe, to, I don't know, just wait, or they're just hanging around in this area here, which is resulting in even more congestion and, the equivalent of traffic jams for boats. So, from speaking with freight forwarders, from looking online, I understand that it's not just us guys that are pissed off, the people that are importing. It's also the owners of the boats, because they've got nowhere to park and get rid of their goods essentially. So that's where it is. Let's now jump back into the article. So if we scroll down here, you can see that the article's main kind of take home point is that people are going to struggle to get Christmas orders on time. And a haulage boss, so someone that maybe works for one of these lorries that delivers goods, is warning that the biggest port is getting worse and it's going to lead to a very challenging festive season. I thought us guys had dealt with enough this year with 2020, the gift that 2020 keeps on giving, but it looks like it's still about to get worse, which is brilliant. So as I mentioned before, pre-Brexit stockpiling, coronavirus, and a backlog of around 11,000 containers of PPE has all been blamed for these delays. So if we continue scrolling down, we've just got more of the same misery, just essentially talking about what I've just mentioned there. So we've also got the fact that you've got additional shipments of PPE, so face masks, hand sanitizer, all that stuff to do with COVID. That again is taking up space on the Felixstow port area. So that's also causing big delays. And these delays, guys, is impacted me massively. I've got 3,000 units of one of my products on one of the ships that cannot dock at the moment. The ship was meant to dock 2 days ago, and at the moment the estimate is the 2nd of December. So I'm going to miss the Black Friday event, Cyber Monday, and might even miss Christmas. For those of you that aren't familiar with how sea shipping works, so generally it takes 4 to 6 weeks to ship goods from China to the UK by sea. When the ship arrives at the UK, normally it's around 3 to 5 days for the containers to be unloaded, the goods to be unloaded, and for the freight forwarder to pick up all of your products. Once that happens, the freight forwarder will need to book in a slot, like a delivery slot with Amazon, and then deliver the goods to an Amazon warehouse. So all in all, it takes, say, 5 to 6 weeks with sea shipping in normal times. Now, just to put this into context, I ordered my 3,000 units at the end of June. So it took about a month to get them manufactured. There were a number of various delays, and the goods didn't actually get dispatched until September time. Then we had a mid-autumn festival or something in China. So there was a week delay there. And then, of course, we've had this shipment delay. So it's taken ages for me to get my my goods shipped in by sea. And if you guys have been on my channel previously, you may have seen a video that I did last year where I spoke about how I took the biggest risk of my life and I ordered £50,000 worth of stock. That was around 6,000 units, I think, and that got delivered in record time. Thank God I managed to shift all of it. Now imagine how I'd be feeling if that was this year, if I'd ordered the same amount. Fortunately, I kind of suspected that there may be some form of delay, so I kind of lowered the order quantity. But this has been something that's massively impacted me and a ton of other Amazon FBA sellers in the groups. I've been speaking with a number of them, and we're all crying together in our little Facebook groups. So it's not a great situation. It hasn't been a great year, but as always, got to try and stay positive and see the light somehow. I'm sure there's a light somewhere. So let's go back to the article now and see what other misery it's got in store for us. So we've got the situation at the port is a mess. Yes, we know. This again I thought was really interesting. There are 11,000 containers of PPE shipped in from China just sitting on the quayside. 11,000 containers. That's insane. I would never, if somebody said to me, guess how many containers there are at Felixstow, I don't think I'd even have guessed anywhere near 11,000. So that just shows you how big this port is and how much it must have stuck there to be congested. And this isn't something that's just impacting us Amazon FBA sellers. It's impacting absolutely everyone. So if you own a business, whether you're an Amazon FBA seller or not, and you import goods via sea, you're going to be impacted by this. So whilst the staff at Felixstow are working hard to reduce the congestion, I think it goes without saying that there are going to be delays with the Felixstow port through the entirety of December and more than likely into the beginning of next year. We've also got Brexit happening on the 1st of January. So, custom control, borders and ports are all going to be overloaded even more so because of that. So, just be aware of that and understand that there are going to be delays. Now, in terms of solutions, this is what this channel's about, solving problems. Well, if you're about to run out of stock or you're going to run out of stock by the end of the year and you're desperate to get new products in, if your product allows for it, I would consider air freight. And you should consider getting air freight at the beginning of next year, not in the fourth quarter of this year, because generally prices will come down. Now, I got a shipment delivered last week by air and it was ridiculously quick. I'm not sure if it's because no one's really using it at the moment, but it only took 4 days, which I was astonished at. So, if your product is small enough and it's cheap enough, I would definitely consider shipping by air at the beginning of next year. Of course, your profit margins are going to be hampered somewhat, but if it means that you're not going to lose your rank position and you're going to be able to make some money, then I would definitely consider it. Now, of course, sea shipment isn't off the table completely. You just have to bear in mind that instead of the usual 4 to 6 week turnaround, it's probably going to take more like 8 to 12 weeks, which is a long time. But, sea shipping is ridiculously cheap when compared to other transport methods. So if your product is quite bulky, heavy, or you're just ordering a load of units, you can still consider that. Now, remember, guys, that at the end of January, it's Chinese New Year, where the guys in China take a couple of weeks off from the factories. So again, you need to factor that in. There's a lot to think about, but if you're running low on stock or you think you'll run out of stock in like February time, you should definitely be placing orders with your suppliers now. And then when January comes, you can get your goods shipped by sea. So, by then, by the time that March arrives and you've run out of stock, hopefully the congestion at Felixstow and the other ports in the UK will have been relieved. So I appreciate that this video hasn't been the most positive one. I do like to stay as positive as I can, but I felt that I needed to get this message out because quite a few people in the groups aren't aware of the delays that are happening. So I'm hoping now that you've watched this video, you understand why the delays are happening and what you can kind of do or expect for the beginning of next year. So if you have enjoyed this video, guys, please remember to subscribe. And, as always, if you've got any requests or comments, feel free to post in the section below. I'll see you next time.